Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. So, first of all, right off the bat, it's starting to warm up here in Buffalo, good old Buffalo. So, I have my fan going. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys, and hopefully you guys are still able to hear me and everything. But if you aren't, please do let me know in the comments below. But in the meantime, it's WrestleMania time. So yesterday we reviewed NXT, the Stand and Deliver, but now it's the main roster's turn. Was this indeed the biggest WrestleMania of all time, as Triple H touted it and tried to present it as? Let's find out. So, of course, because it's two nights, but it's part of the same event, I decided I would just combine the two nights and talk about the two nights as one. But, of course, as always, I'm not a professional wrestling viewer or analyst or anything like that, just a man who enjoys a good time. And I definitely had a real good time with this WrestleMania. A lot of people are saying this might be one of, if not the best WrestleMania of all time. Is that the case? Do I agree with that sentiment? I don't necessarily know if I agree with those sentiments, but it's up there. It's definitely, I would say, a pretty solid WrestleMania, all things considered. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. If you've seen these reviews before, you kind of already know this works. If you haven't, let me tell me what I liked and disliked about each match. I'm going to go match by match. So, starting with the first match for the Women's World Championship, and of course, we're going to be starting with night one, then Women's night two, and then we're also going to talk about the match of the night, the strongest and weakest match of the night, and we're going to do it for both nights, and kind of briefly touch on what happened on the Raw after WrestleMania. But nevertheless, starting with the match for the Women's World Championship, as the Eradicator Rhea Ripley defended against the man Becky Lynch. So, of course, because it's WrestleMania, we got special entrances. Becky Lynch came out kind of with the backdrop of her book that just came out not too long ago. Let me know if that book is worth checking out. I saw some of the quotes from the book that were interesting. Some things that some people were kind of discussing when it comes to that book, but otherwise, I've been meaning to try to check out some like wrestler books, and I think now might be the time, especially that book. But Rhea Ripley got her entrance performed by Motionless in White, who of course does her theme song on so they did the live performance, and so it was really cool. And Rhea Ripley also picking up the win. So congratulations, Rhea. You are one of the rare people at WrestleMania who gets a live performance and still gets the win. But at least live performance of their entrance theme, and also get the win. But still, a pretty solid match, still pretty solid back and forth between the two. Who of course Becky got this opportunity by winning the Elimination Chamber back in February. Wow, the month eluded me for a second, but she won the Elimination Chamber match back in February to get this opportunity, and trying to bring it to Rhea Ripley, but ultimately Ripley picking up the win and hailing the Riptide. Becky did kick out of one of the Riptides, but didn't quite kick out of the other one. I think. Please let me know if this is the case. I think it probably was the. I think it probably wasn't the case, but I think this is the first. At least it's the first time I can recall somebody kicking out of the Riptide, but I could be totally wrong about that. You remember when finishers actually finished people off? Yeah, those were the days. But nevertheless, that's Rhea picking up the win. So congrats to Rhea Ripley there, and yeah, pretty solid match, I would say. But then next up, we got a 6-pack tag team ladder match for the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. It was as the Judgment Day defended against A-Town Down Under, that being Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, the Awesome Truth, the Miz and R-Truth, DIY, that being Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, the New Day, of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and New Catch Republic, of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. So a couple preliminaries or things worth mentioning throughout the match. For starters, shout out to Xavier Woods with his like Apollo Creed slash in a way, Consequences Creed inspired gear, of course, paying homage to Carl Weathers, aka Apollo Creed from the Rocky movies, who passed away a not too long ago. Nice homage there. The other thing is DIY coming out with DX inspired gear and a DX inspired entrance, which it sucks they didn't get the DX theme song, but DX inspired here. So I guess that's the payoff to the joke of R-Truth calling them DX, even though I don't think I've mentioned this before on the channel, but R-Truth, I know him calling DIY DX is supposed to be kind of like a joke and kind of comedic and everything, but if you look at the stories of DX versus the stories of DIY, I think R-Truth might be onto something. But speaking of which, man, we do not deserve R-Truth. Like, as a species and as wrestling fans, we do not deserve R-Truth. R-Truth continues to be a national treasure. Or getting a tag spot in before hitting the Cena moves, paying homage to his childhood hero John Cena. And if you can believe it, when we talk about the Road to WrestleMania, it's gonna get a whole lot better. But yeah, so R-Truth with paying homage to John Cena, and it was hilarious. And it's hilarious how the crowd was in on it as well. With the crowd, we do have to talk about the crowd. The crowd, a lot of people were saying, was pretty dead throughout the night. Of course, because I missed night one, I had to go back and watch it on Sunday before WrestleMania Sunday, so I had to go back and watch it, and the crowd was kind of dead, but at the same time, it was pretty cold there. It was like 52 degrees, which it seems kind of warm, at least by like New York standards, at least for me, but and probably more so just Buffalo standards, but with Philly, yeah, it was kind of chilly, and it dropped down to I think it dropped down to like 45, which that's kind of cold, you know. But I mean, moving around and showing the energy, I think can warm you up a little bit. Like saying like they say, shivering burns a lot of calories. Moving around, you know, keeping yourself warm, keeping your heart rate up. So, I'm not sure, but probably, but I do kind of get, you know, the fans essentially were trying not to freeze to death, and this was an outdoor arena as well. But nevertheless, but nonetheless, as the crowd was into it as well. Like when R-Truth did like the whole spot where he's pounding on the turnbuckle, the crowd like did the clap and everything. And it's hilarious how R-Truth does like the jokes and everything, and the crowd is like in on it as well, and cheering him on and stuff. But but as for the match itself, a lot of fun, definitely a lot of fun, a lot of like tag team ladder match fun, which I love tag teams, I love ladder matches. I've mentioned before how ladder matches are probably my favorite match type, because in my opinion, you can't really go wrong with a ladder match. Like you'd be hard pressed to find a bad ladder match. It's hard to ruin a ladder match. Like just give us some demolition derby type destruction and with some crazy spots, and we are all set. WWE has tried, and even I would say succeeded a couple of times, but otherwise you'd be hard pressed to find a bad ladder match, and this one wasn't bad. Had showing some cool spots going through the ladders and stuff, including Tommaso Ciampa hitting a whole air raid crash off the top of the ladder. Or maybe not as crazy as the one he hit off the War Games cage in War Games match a couple of years ago. A few years ago. Oh wow, that was actually 5 years ago. That was back in 2019. Oh wow. Oh man, where's the time gone? But still pretty cool, and all 6 teams I think doing really well. Including Tyler Bate, in a really cool moment, doing the airplane spin with Finn Balor, and as Finn Balor was holding on to the ladder. I think that was pretty cool. When JD McDonough ultimately getting sacrificed for the greater good, plummeting off the ladder through the table as well. But ultimately, A-Town Down Under, or aka Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, became the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and then the Awesome Truth, that being The Miz and R-Truth, became the new Raw Tag Team Champions. Which, a couple things I'll mention about that. For starters, thank God the titles are finally split. Like we were wondering when the titles would be split. They're finally split. Thank goodness for that. But also, definitely, A-Town Down Under, not a real tag team. You remember? I wouldn't be surprised. Like, it'd be petty, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just gave the titles to Austin Theory and Grayson Waller just despite Meltzer or whoever was the first. I think it was Meltzer who tried reporting that at he somehow didn't consider A-Town Down Under a real tag team and that they were going to be replaced. Yeah, totally replaced. Totally not winning the tag titles, but we didn't get our Hardy Boys, but that was still a pretty fun match, I would say. But then next up, more tag team action as Rey Mysterio and Andrade battle Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. And of course Rey and Andrade picking up the win. And so for the second year in a row, poor Dom is lost to his dad. Of course it was originally Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, but Dragon Lee was attacked at another Whodunit storyline, which is kind of weird that they're doing another Whodunit storyline after they just did one with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. See the conclusion of that in my Stand and Deliver review. Go check that out. But it is weird how they are doing kind of like another Whodunit angle, but nevertheless, as he was taken out here, and Rey and Andrade picking up the win in a nasty elbow shot, which I first saw on it was funny because I saw some of the highlights from night one, even though I hadn't watched night one yet. I saw some of the highlights of it on Twitter, and seeing the nasty elbow from Andrade to Dom, the fake out into the elbow, and then I forgot it was gonna happen, and then it happened, and I was surprised all over again. Man, that was impact. I don't know how much of that was like doing like some type of sound effect, whether slapping the leg or clapping to make it sound loud, but either way, it definitely looked brutal. Well, and surprisingly, no turn from Carlito, which a lot of people are predicting it would be coming up, and that Carlito was the one to attack Dragon Lee, which does seem to be the angle they're going for. So perhaps they're gonna milk out the storyline a little bit longer, possibly till Backlash, but we will see. So Rey and Andrade getting the win in there. And we saw the other members of like the LWO and Legado del Fantasma interacting with each other, including Elektra, Lopez, and Zelina Vega. Why this wasn't LWO versus Legado del Fantasma, I'm not sure. Maybe they're holding out for that, but nevertheless, yeah. So, congrats to Rey and Andrade on picking up the win there. But then next up, brother versus brother as Jey Uso battles Jimmy Uso. All right. Let's go ahead and address it. Address the elephant in the room. I'm sure a lot of you guys are waiting for my thoughts on this match. I mentioned at the beginning we would talk about the strongest and weakest match of the night, but I will say off the bat, this definitely was the weakest. Like, this, I think, was the match that people were the most scared of, like, because Jey and Jimmy's style were so similar and they haven't really deviated from it. A lot of people predicted that it'd be a lot of super kicks and a lot of like samey moves, and go figure, lo and behold, a lot of super kicks and a lot of samey moves. Like this one, and I alluded to it when I talked about Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams from Stand and Deliver. Again, check out my review from yesterday. I mentioned that there was another match like Mel versus Trick, which I thought should have been no holds barred. This was that other match because this match was very disappointing. It did not live up to the hype, or even lack thereof, because this match definitely needed a lot more hype going into it, or a lot more storyline. I think with this one they tried to make the story build itself with like Jimmy costing Jey and Jimmy costing Jey back at SummerSlam and then costing him almost every time throughout, and Jey leaving the Bloodline versus Jimmy still being very much Bloodline for life. But sadly, it didn't really pan out the way they would have hoped, and this match I think did kind of fall flat. Jimmy did try to fake out Jey, like trying to like beg him off before attacking him, but I wish we got a little bit more out of this. Don't worry, these two will redeem themselves tomorrow night for WrestleMania Sunday. But this match, sadly, this wasn't it. So now I guess in the hierarchy of brother versus brother matches, in terms of WrestleMania, that being Bret versus Owen, Matt versus Jeff, and now Jimmy versus Jay. Sadly, this one might be on the bottom. At least Matt and Jeff. That one was, in a lot of people's eyes, kind of disappointing as well. But at least that one had ladders, and chairs, and tables, and Jeff, but and Matt, of course. But which I also reviewed Bret vs. Owen. I'll probably review Matt vs. Jeff at some point on the channel. But if you want to see my Bret vs. Owen review, check that out on the channel as well. But I gotta go back to putting iCards in these videos, so I probably will do that at some point. But yeah, sadly, this wasn't it. This was not it, Chief. This definitely was not it. But like I said, they'll redeem themselves later on in WrestleMania, that being WrestleMania Sunday. But nevertheless, next up in 6-woman tag team action in Damage Control, that being Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane battle a united front of Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill, who making her WrestleMania debut. Technically not her WWE in-ring debut, because she was at the Royal Rumble, but now her first official, I guess in a way official match. The Royal Rumble does kind of count, but it also kind of does. It's weird, but essentially Jade Cargill at least making her WrestleMania debut here. And essentially this was not only Damage Control kind of getting their comeuppance, but also kind of a Jade Cargill showcase. Bianca and Naomi, they did their thing, and Damage Control, they did their thing, but a lot of this was Jade Cargill going to do, being able to showcase her, and I think in that regard they pulled it off, and they made her look really good and really solid, and I think she gave a pretty solid performance here. Ultimately, he being able to pick up the win, and for her team, I believe it was I'm looking here for reference, but nailing Dakota Kai with Jaded, which I guess they are carrying over the Jaded name, because that was the name of her finisher in AEW. So carrying over the Jaded name in order to pick up the win, but also that ponytail shot from Bianca Belair, which Bianca Belair is her birthday today, so happy birthday, Bianca. But that ponytail shot from Bianca Belair to Asuka, you thought the sound from Andrade was bad. Ooh, and there was no faking that one. And there was no faking that one. That one sounded like it hurt. I don't know which one was louder, this one or the one she did to Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 37. A match I also reviewed, so you know what to do. But essentially a showcase for Jade, but the other women did their part as well. But then next up for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn seeks to take the Intercontinental Championship from Gunther. Was he able to do it? Yeah, actually. And you know what, Sammy? I think me and a lot of the people owe you a big old apology because I did not think Sammy's gonna win. And look, nothing against Sammy, of course, but Sammy definitely, I think, should be going after the world title now. But you know what? He had his moment here. He had his moment getting a solo title, winning the Intercontinental title for the first time in a while. I think this is the first time he's been Intercontinental champion since 2020. And of course, he's trying to tug on the heartstrings beforehand, do it for them as he's making his way through the curtain. You see him with his wife and child and everything, and then also with Kevin Owens, who's going to be facing on WrestleMania Sunday again, and both Randy Orton and Logan Paul. So Sam, do it for them as he seeks to take the Intercontinental Championship from the Ring General Gunther. And this time we didn't get our Ludwig Kaiser intro. What the hell? But nevertheless, I'm not going to do it for the channel because I can't do it as well as Ludwig Kaiser, of course. But Sami Zayn did pick up the win from Gunther, and these two definitely brought it. If it wasn't for another match, and I'm pretty sure you know which one I'm talking about. This probably would have been the match of the night because they absolutely brought it. They told the story really well. Gunther being an absolute monster, an absolute beast. Meanwhile, Sami Zayn being very resourceful, being the underdog from the underground, which he's not called anymore. But I guess that was just an NXT thing. But Sami Zayn being the underdog, having to really, fight the odds against Gunther, and sorry, okay, there, my camera looked a little bit tilted. It was starting to drive me crazy. But anyway, Sammy looking to be the underdog and put away Gunther, and essentially, do it, definitely do it for them, and fighting against the odds, fighting against the odds stacked against him by the ring general in order to pick him up, including that brainbuster spot on the turnbuckle, which a lot of people thought he botched. He thought it was a botched move, that he might have been going for like a superplex or something, but no, it was a brainbuster. Did people forget how brainbusters work? But nevertheless, as Gunther nailing the brainbuster on Sammy nailing the brainbuster on Gunther, I should say, which looked gnarly, and then nailing him with the haluva kicks in order to put away Gunther. So Sammy is now Intercontinental Champion. He did it, Khadija. He did it. I think I pronounced her name right. If I did, if I didn't, I do apologize. But nevertheless, it's time for your main event, and at least for night one, as The Rock and Roman Reigns of the Bloodline, of course, the final boss and the tribal chief, battle the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins, and if The Rock and Roman Reigns won, and then the next match, or the main event for night two, that being Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the Undisputed title, would be under Bloodline rules. But if Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes won, then the match the night after would be Bloodline free. And this and of course the main event for night two, which we will definitely get to, it definitely felt the most unpredictable. Like, we truly didn't know who was gonna win. And I mentioned this when I did my predictions, is that it really did feel unpredictable, not because we didn't care who won, but because we cared a lot about who won, because essentially who won this match would dictate who wins at night two, and who picked up the win. Well, let's just say that Cody Rhodes has got the deck stacked against him even more, because The Rock and Roman picking up the win, and The Rock getting back into the ring for the first proper match at least at WrestleMania since his encounter against John Cena at WrestleMania 29, which I also reviewed on the channel, so you know what to do. And then everybody else doing their part. Essentially, this was kind of a taste of Bloodline rules, because this match essentially was kind of no counts and no disqualification. Not because that was the actual stipulation, but because The Rock threatened to fire the ref if he counted them out or disqualified them. So the ref essentially powerless, because he doesn't want to lose his job. And I do like how with the heel Rock Hollywood final boss persona, how it incorporates The Rock's standing within TKO as well, essentially being their boss and everything, how that's incorporated into the match. So I guess The Rock still has some of the corporation left in him after all, but nevertheless, as ultimately stacking the deck against Cody. Ultimately, Cody falling into The Rock after not only The Rock whipping Cody with the belt after going for the triple crossroads. Cody, you have got to stop doing that without the other Bloodline members being taken out. But Cody nailing the triple crossroads on Roman, or almost doing so before The Rock whipped Cody with the belt, and that made it sound as well. What is with these loud ass sounds on night one of WrestleMania here? But nevertheless, then and Roman and spearing Cody. He did accidentally spear The Rock in the match as well. Roman, buddy, you have got to stop accidentally spearing your partners here, man. Jeez. But nevertheless, and The Rock, either The Rock sold the crap out of that spear, or it genuinely hurt because The Rock was just in so much pain and agony off that spear. I think he definitely sold the crap out of it. Either that or that at 10 plus years of not being in the ring has finally started to, or at least being in the ring in a match proper, has finally started to catch up to The Rock. But and nevertheless, as The Rock then putting Cody away with the People's Elbow, or getting the pin off the People's Elbow, which The Rock, like, sometimes, like the thing is, he has won matches with the People's Elbow before, but it definitely doesn't feel like a match ender. It feels more like a signature before he nails the actual finisher, that being the Rock Bottom. But nevertheless, he won with the People's Elbow onto Cody and, of course, Michael Cole. Well, and they laid it on thick. I think this, like, definitely kind of gave it away as to how night 2 would go, but that feeling of doom and gloom, it's just like last year all over again. Oh crap! Where Michael's like, Cody screwed, and Cody's sitting there with the exact same pose that he had when he lost to Roman at Mania 39. The Rock and Roman Reigns holding up the respective belts. The Rock holding up the People's Championship, and then Roman holding up the Universal Championship. Which The Rock got flack for holding the People's Championship. Which of course the People's Championship was given to him by Muhammad Ali's widow. So, no, but did people just not know the history behind it? Like if a belt was if a championship belt, which looks like they're referring to them as belts again, and but if a championship is handed to you by the widow of Muhammad Ali, aka the greatest, one of, if not the greatest boxer of all time, hell yeah, I'm gonna walk around with that thing. But nevertheless, so that feeling of doom and gloom. The Rock and Roman posing, Cody and Seth looking real sad. I think you know where this is going, but I guess just off of night one, really solid. And we're also going to talk about which was better, night 1 or night 2. But from night 1, the strongest and weakest in the match, the strongest definitely has to go to the main event, because of these stakes and everything. Even though the entries were 16 minutes, and the match itself was 44 minutes and 35 seconds. It's my god. So pretty much everything, the entrances plus the match itself, essentially ate up the whole last hour of WrestleMania. My goodness. So the last hour was pretty much all bloodline, essentially, but yeah. So that emotional stakes, emotional weight, hate, and then. Will it pay off the next night? We'll find out. But then the weakest, as I mentioned, definitely Uso versus Uso. Like that could have been, should have went so much better. But now we move into night 2, and starting off with night 2, we have the World Heavyweight Championship match as Seth freaking Rollins defends against Drew McIntyre. Of course, Drew McIntyre won his Elimination Chamber, and also in Perth, Australia, which, if you haven't already, go check out my review of Elimination Chamber. And CM Punk is on commentary for this match, the World Heavyweight Championship match. I think you know where this one's going, but nevertheless, as Drew and Seth battling out here, Drew even opening up with a Claymore right to Seth, and these two definitely putting on a solid match and performance. And Drew keeps taunting CM Punk and everything, and taunting CM Punk, saying it was his moment. It had definitely. Was supposed to be CM Punk's moment, because CM Punk has confirmed it was supposed to be him versus Seth Rollins, but obviously with CM Punk's tricep injury, which CM Punk still has like the brace and everything on obviously that didn't work out, but nevertheless, Drew ultimately picking up the win and putting away Seth Rollins to win the World Championship. Winning in the World Heavyweight Championship, that is, finally getting his moments in the sun, finally getting his moment in front of people this time around, winning. And the last time he won the WWE Championship, it was during COVID and everything, so there was nobody around. This time, I'm doing it in front of people, finally having his moments, and then he had to ruin it for himself by taunting CM Punk with it. Getting up on the table, getting real close to CM Punk, essentially rubbing the title in his face. Drew even tweeted out mid-match, bored at work or something like that. So Drew definitely rubbing it in, and CM Punk stands all he could. He had to stand all he could stand, but he couldn't stand no more. Essentially knocking Drew off the table, off the commentary desk, and then essentially he beating him down with the ace and essentially beating down Drew McIntyre. And then Damian Priest showed up. Priest ran out with his briefcase. He cashed in, and the referee rang it right away. He didn't confirm with Priest. He grabbed the briefcase and just cashed in right away. Drew, Damian got Drew up, nailed him with the South of Heaven, and picked up the win. So Damian is now the world champion. Is now the world heavyweight champion, and Drew looks pretty sour about it. CM Punk essentially costing Drew there. Drew, and people pointed this out. Just the sweet irony, and that makes for some really awesome storytelling. And Drew saying to Seth that your obsession with the bloodline will cost you the world title, but it was Drew's obsession with CM Punk that cost him the world title. And then we'll talk about the Raw after. I almost spoiled it, but we'll get into it, of course. But yeah, so Damian is the new world heavyweight champion, finally cashing in. Now, apparently the news broke earlier on today that they had that finish planned for 6 months. And yeah, so 6 months. So essentially back in October, or I just had to do some quick math. No, November. Wait, November, December, January, February, March, April. So October. So October. Yeah. So October. Essentially, having that plan for 6 months, that's how Damian Priest would cash in. Meaning, there is a chance that Damian Priest probably would have cashed in and taken the title from CM Punk if CM Punk had beaten Seth Rollins. I don't know if he necessarily would have, but either way, Damian Priest is going to cash in on somebody at WrestleMania. So essentially, the rest of this time where people thought he wasn't cashing in, call him the worst Money in the Bank holder of all time, essentially Damian Priest, essentially they were stalling for time. So they had the plan, and for Damian Priest to cash in. So essentially stalling for time that entire time. But nevertheless, congrats to Damian Priest though. But nevertheless, as next up was the Philadelphia Street Fight, as the Pride, that being Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, battle the Final Testament, that being Karrion Kross, and the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, something also worth noting, the special guest referee, Bubba Ray Dudley, which does make sense. We are in ECW country here in Philadelphia, which the crowd was a lot more electric for night 2. They must have saw those tweets and kind of took it personally, but a friend of mine was actually in the crowd. He attended WrestleMania, but so I'll have to ask him about his experience and everything. I haven't got a chance to talk to him yet, but I definitely do want to ask him about his experience. But Bubba Ray, being the special guest referee, the special guest commentator, Snoop Dogg. Why? It's Snoop Dogg. So Snoop Dogg coming out. But also, I gotta mention, kicking off the show proper before the World Heavyweight Championship match, Stephanie McMahon making her return, and welcoming the crowd and everything. So Triple H opened night 1 on addressing the crowd. Stephanie McMahon and opened night 2 addressing the crowd, which was really cool. Awesome to see her back. She was at the Hall of Fame ceremony, but now it looks like she either this was a one-off or it may lead to her being back in the company, like full on in the fold. Well, it's understandable why she walked away after what happened with Vince and everything, but hopefully now with Triple H in charge, or obviously her husband Triple H in charge. Hopefully this means Stephanie McMahon may or may not be back into the fold. But nevertheless, as a Snoop Dogg special guest commentator, Bubba Ray special guest referee, he nothing crazy with this match. Essentially, weapons galore, stuff like that, including Cross getting physical with the referee Bubba Ray, who put on his glasses. ECW, baby, and that got ECW chant. Of course, the Dudley Boys known for their glasses. It's too bad Devon couldn't have been there, but Nevertheless, ultimately he he cross put away by Bobby Lashley in order for the Pride to get the win. And it was cool how they did it, the was up and everything with Bubba there as well. Also another Dudley's reference. So it's essentially kind of a ECW tribute, if you will, even if just a small one in that regard. But the good guy has ended up getting the win. We even saw some involvement from both BFAB and Scarlett as they kind of brawled with each other, yeah, and not a bad match. It gets the job done there. But next up, LA Knight, yeah, takes on the phenomenal AJ Styles. So of course these two have been feuding for a little bit, and including AJ Styles flying all the way to Australia to cost LA Knight the chamber. But it leads this match here. We didn't get LA Knight getting his entrance performed by Usher, but we did get new theme music for AJ Styles. And just off a first listen, and I might wait until they release it on Spotify or their YouTube channel in order to listen to the song, but the new theme song for AJ Styles, I'll be honest, is it better than his previous one? Absolutely not. Is it as bad as it could have been? I don't think so. It's okay. They get the same guy who I think it was Stevie Stone who kind of sang / rapped for the Street Profits heel theme that they had for a little bit before they abandoned that, and for Solo Sikoa's theme. So I think smart move in that part. But otherwise, it's okay. It's nothing. It's nothing spectacular. It's nothing crazy, but it's okay. As for this match, these two put on a pretty decent match against each other. LA Knight ultimately getting the win, so kind of giving AJ his comeuppance there, and also this one kind of straight into the point as well. Kind of just to give LA Knight the win. Hopefully, LA Knight starts to get a push again, and hopefully AJ gets one as well, especially with AJ potentially retiring soon. But yeah, so a pretty decent match there as well. But then next up was the triple threat for the United States Championship, as Logan Paul defended against both Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. So Logan Paul showed up in the Prime truck with the Prime bottle, and even had a Prime cannon on it. I may not be the biggest fan of Prime. I only tried it a handful of times. A couple of the flavors were okay, but I may not be the biggest fan of Prime. But man, I want that truck. Meanwhile, Kevin Owens kind of had a similar entrance that Sami Zayn had in the back. Will it pay off for Kevin Owens? We'll find out. But showing up with the golf cart, driving it down. But then Randy Orton comes out. Kevin Owens essentially gave him a ride on the golf cart, which was pretty cool. Saying, get in and everything, so they can ride down to the ring. And of course, with it being every man for himself, it was inevitable that Owens and Randy would turn on each other. At least he's in terms of the match, and they eventually did. Battling each other, but also battling Logan Paul, including opening up with them, him kind of knocking around Logan Paul and stuff, throwing him on the table multiple times. During the match, the Prime bottle gets involved again, and referee, you gotta, I know this is no disqualification, but just for future reference, referees, if the Prime bottle is out there, they're definitely definitely gotta eject them because they're gonna interfere. And sure enough, the Prime bottle pulled out Randy Orton. Which I also gotta mention the branding for Prime and the branding in general. There was a lot of branding in here at WrestleMania. A lot of people did say it was kind of annoying, kind of jarring. But the Prime bottle in the center of the ring, not as bad as it could have been. At least it was white to match the canvas. It wasn't super colorful and everything, in what they were showing when they first announced that the Prime and bottles would be in the center of the ring, during every pay-per-view / premium live event. And then they also had the hydration station, which was just a bunch of Prime bottles on a cart, which nobody ended up, people went over there and knocked over the stand, but nobody actually took the Prime and bottle and actually drank out of it. Not even Logan Paul. But It was Prime Bottle pulling out the referee. And then Randy Orton confronted the Prime Bottle. It took off the face. Was it KSI this time? No! It was I Show Speed. I Show Speed this time was under the Prime Bottle and like it was fighting around with Randy and stuff. Randy kicking him over. At least I Show Speed didn't actually show his dingly bits this time around, but Randy knocking over the Prime Bottle, RKOing I Show Speed, which I Show Speed was like barking at him and stuff, as well as some other expletives, as Randy was about to RKO, and then Randy barked back before RKOing I Show Speed. He took like the Prime Bottle suit off him first, and then RKO'd him. And ultimately Logan Paul, using the brass knucks, and also using the frog splash as well. And the height he got that frog splash, that was impressive. But ultimately nailing, I believe it was Kevin Owens that he nailed the frog splash on in order to retain in the U.S. Championship. So Logan Paul is still your U.S. champion. But then next up in your semi-main event for night 2, who for the WWE Women's Championship, have former Damage Control members turned enemies as Bayley battled against Io Sky. Bayley got some new theme music as well. Which I guess makes sense, differentiated her from the rest of Damage Control. But of course, Bayley won the Royal Rumble, challenged Io Sky for a left Damage Control and everything because they're making fun of her and stuff. So now Bayley battling Io Sky here, and these two put on a really solid performance. And Bayley ultimately getting the win over Io Sky, but. And Bayley, of course, winning with the Rose Plan on EO. But these two definitely battle against each other. I had to tell the story of like how they know each other so well. I think for the most part they were able to get the point across. But so pretty solid in that regard. Now, which of the two women's championship matches were better? The one from night 1, that being Rhea versus Becky, or this one, Bayley versus EO? It's kind of in the middle for me. I might slightly lean more towards this one. Like Rhea versus Becky was still pretty solid, but this one was also just a smidge better, at least to me. But both matches were still really good. And then in your main event, it all comes down to this. It's for the second year in a row. Go big or go home. Is he going to finish the story as the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, who seeks once again to take the undisputed WWE Universal Championship from Roman Reigns? And some solid entrance for both men. Cody coming out with the helmet, kind of in the style like the American Nightmare logo, or it might have been the Downstate logo. I'm not entirely sure. Roman coming out with the orchestra, a lot cooler this year than it was the previous year, but. And nevertheless, it all comes down to this. Last year was the Infinity War, but now we're in the end game, and this definitely felt like the end game. Of course, Cody and Roman slugged it out to open up the match, and then came the interferences. First, Jimmy Uso showed up and tried to interfere, but then Jey Uso showed up and took out Jimmy and speared him off the ramp. And then some more battling from Cody and Roman, including Roman nailing Cody with his own crossroads, and then Cody nailing Roman with his own spear. Cody, leave the spearing to Jey. In terms of people copying the spear, Cody's spear wasn't bad, but still, kind of leave it to Jey. But. Nevertheless, Cody he went for the triple crossroads again, but this time Solo showed up and interfered once again, and on his behalf. But then John Cena showed up and took care of Solo, giving him the attitude adjustment through the announce table, getting his revenge from Crown Jewel, and putting away Solo. Then the final boss, The Rock, showed up, nailed John Cena with the rock bottom, and then the gong. And the crowd was definitely into all of this. They were definitely into it. But when the gong showed up, the crowd definitely lost it. But first, I also have to mention Seth Rollins coming out at first to try to help out right before Undertaker showed up. Seth came out with the Shield gear, attempted to use the chair on The Rock, but Roman Superman punched him, and Seth Rollins essentially out for the rest of the match. But a lot of people thought it was Jon Moxley showing up with the Shield theme and everything. I wasn't fooled by it. A lot of people kind of thought like Shield theme. I think they thought it was gonna be Seth Rollins or Jon Moxley. The thing is, obviously the obvious, that being Jon Moxley part of AEW and everything, but also, the thing is, Jon Moxley is a whole different character as opposed to his Shield counterpart. He's a whole different character than his Dean Ambrose counterpart. Alright, so I kind of figured he probably wouldn't show up. Would it have been cool? Yeah, it definitely would have been. Like, I definitely would have lost if Mox was there, but I kind of knew it wasn't him. I was like, oh, Seth Rollins pulling up with the Shield theme, and even the Shield gear, which makes sense. Seth Rollins said he would be Cody Rhodes' Shield. Now, but it was interesting to see how many people were fooled by it. Now, look, if Wild Thing starts playing, then lose it. Then that means Moxley showing up. But otherwise, yeah. I knew it was Rollins, but Rollins taken out. Then the Gong. Then the Undertaker showed up to take out The Rock. Again, nailing The Rock with the choke slam. A lot of people were kind of going back and forth with that. Like, for a lot of people, it was cool as hell. For me, it was cool as hell. Like, I definitely lost. Like, I was sitting in this exact chair, my office chair, watching on my TV. Literally, when the Gong played, I stood up. I jumped to my feet. I jumped to my feet quicker than Samantha Irvin did when The Rock showed up. But it was really cool. But people were expecting Stone Cold. I imagine Stone Cold probably wasn't available. Well, but it also makes sense. Even though Stone Cold and The Rock have more history, The Undertaker and The Rock also have history. Who else do you think it was? Who almost didn't get hit by the People's Elbow that one time, where The Rock was about to hit it, and then Undertaker sat up and The Rock kicked him back down. So there is some history between the Undertaker and The Rock. Still. Plus, I think it was also Roman's essentially Roman's past coming back to haunt him, because Roman of course beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania 33. So essentially all Roman's past coming back to haunt him in a way. Roman / the Bloodline, and so now all the interference is out. And it was cool how every time the Bloodline had interference, Cody essentially had an answer for it. So Cody essentially called in the troops. This definitely was the Avengers Assemble moment, and thankfully nobody got turned into dust this time around, but it definitely was the Avengers Assemble moment. But then, and ultimately, the big thing, the Freudian slip, what everybody's talking about, Roman instead nailing Seth with the chair instead of going for Cody. Cody using that to his advantage, nailing the triple crossroads, looking around, making sure nobody else was getting back up, nailing the crossroads. Story is finished. Cody Rhodes is the new Undisputed WWE Universal Champion. What a main event. Was it overbooked? Absolutely. Was it a lot of fun? Absolutely. Like we knew it was going to be overbooked. We knew they were going to pull out all the stops, especially with Bloodline rules. But man, did they pull out all the stops here. Like, this definitely was the end game moment. We finally won, and of course Cody celebrating with just about everyone. Like, a lot of people showed up. CM Punk, LA Knight. Cody even called Bruce Pritchard and Triple H down to the ring to celebrate with them as well. Having his embrace with Nick Khan and everything. And so Cody indeed finishing his story. He did close out WrestleMania. So what a hell of a WrestleMania. For night 2, the strongest and weakest match of the night. The strongest, definitely the main event. Like definitely that had catharsis of Cody losing last year. Cody having to go through all these obstacles. Nobody being able to beat Roman, and just for Cody to finally be the one to do it. Like, and seeing Cody's journey from before going truly from undesirable to truly undeniable. Amazing character arc for Cody. Like definitely all the props in the world to him. It felt so cathartic. It felt so good to see Cody get the win. Obviously, that's not to take anything away from Roman. Like, Roman was a hell of a Universal Champion, and WWE might not be in the position it is nowadays. If pro wrestling might not be in the position it is nowadays, if not for Roman, if not for Roman and his contribution as well. Like the Tribal Chief character, and the character for Roman as well, going from one of the most hated heroes, people not wanting to see him anymore, definitely getting that go away heat, definitely getting that X-Pac heat. He becoming such a compelling villain with the Tribal Chief. He having this amazing storyline with the Bloodline, and just as capping it off in this amazing cathartic way, elevating Cody's stock tremendously. He truly as the guy to lead WWE into this new era, and yeah, Roman definitely did his part. If Roman is going to take a lot of time off, he definitely will have earned it. He will have earned it for sure. But yeah, so Cody getting the win there. So that's definitely the strongest match of the night. And then afterwards, Roman walking up, getting very emotional, hugging Paul Heyman and everything. And as for the weakest match of the night, if I had to pick one, it'd probably be now in terms of like if you're going like match length and moves, then it's probably Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre technically, because that one was only one move, but I can't. It's kind of unfair to count that, and so I might have to go with LA Knight versus AJ Styles just by comparison. Which was better, night 1 or night 2? I definitely got to give it to night 2 for this one. Night 1 was really solid, but night 2 was fantastic, and definitely deserves all the praise it gets. It's now delving into what happened in the Raw after WrestleMania. This year's Raw after WrestleMania, I'll be honest, was it the best Raw of all time? No. Was it the best Raw after WrestleMania of all time? No. Was it a lot better than last year? Absolutely. Like this one blew last year's Raw after WrestleMania right out of the water. So it started off with, and I did miss a chunk of it because my internet did go out, so I had to go and get that taken care of. But nevertheless, Cody and The Rock kind of having an interesting / kind of awkward segment where The Rock wanted to hold the Universal Championship. Apparently, it was a callback to something to an interaction they had in 2014 where Cody said he wanted to see The Rock's WWE Championship that he had just unveiled and everything, but or 2013, 2014, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was kind of strange. I'm not gonna lie. But showing that things aren't quite done between The Rock and Cody Rhodes. Abe Meltzer saying that perhaps this will lead to them having a match at WrestleMania 41. But I think WrestleMania 41 is probably gonna be Rock versus Roman. And if anything, Cody and Roman will probably face at SummerSlam. But I'll talk more about it when I do my Cody Rhodes discussion tomorrow. I'm going to talk about what's next for Cody Rhodes as Undisputed W Universal Champion. They played a video package for him. They showed him like a video that they put together for him, and it definitely was emotional. Like Cody cried. I almost cried. Like the fact that I didn't cry is not because it wasn't emotional. It's just because I don't really cry that often nowadays. But that, I'm not gonna lie, seeing that video package, with the song and everything, that almost got me. I'm not gonna lie. That definitely almost got me. But yeah. So but. Yeah, so there's that. Ilya Dragunov made his debut, who against Shinsuke Nakamura, his main roster debut, that is. And that's the match where my internet cut out. So I know Ilya Dragunov won, but didn't get to see the rest of the match. Roxanne Perez made her Raw debut as well. As she battled Indy Hartwell and picked up the win over her, and then I kind of dealt in and out. Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci kind of trying to stick up for Gunther, which Gunther surprisingly nowhere to be found, but maybe he just took the night off. He's definitely earned it as well with how he did as Intercontinental Champion. But they faced Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Sami and Chad got the win, and then next week in Montreal it's going to be Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable. Will Chad Gable heel turn incoming? Perhaps we'll find out. But then and also the best payoff to one of the best jokes was as well. First of all, R-Truth showing up with the Raw Tag Team Championship, posing next to Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. Damian Priest getting new theme music as well, and it actually didn't sound too bad. But posing next to them, and Damian Priest like, oh hell no, like that all was hilarious. But R-Truth and Miz and a partner they can't see, I think you know where this is going, battling JD, McDonough, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Ultimately, John Cena showing up, teaming with the Miz and R-Truth, and them hitting like the 5 knuckle shuffle, technically a 15 knuckle shuffle. Well, then the AA, them doing like the shoulder tackle and stuff like that, all doing that in unison. And then the triple AAs and the triple pins as well. That was pretty funny, a pretty funny payoff to that. And then in the main event, and which I kind of dipped in and out of Raw. I kind of saw like bits and pieces and everything, but yeah. And the main event, Jey Uso winning the Fatal 4-Way against Bronson Reed, Ricochet, and Drew McIntyre. Ricochet is insane for that dive onto Bronson Reed on the outside, though. Holy crap! But Jey Uso picking up the win after CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre again. So I guess it definitely is going to be CM Punk for Drew McIntyre. I imagine probably around SummerSlam or whenever CM Punk is healed up and healthy again. But yeah, so what a WrestleMania. Raw's WrestleMania was what it was, but it definitely was a lot better than last year. Definitely that catharsis feeling of we won compared to like last year's we lost feeling. But yeah, so what a WrestleMania, and what a WrestleMania weekend it was. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops, and let me know in the comments what your thoughts on WrestleMania this year. Did you like to like WrestleMania? Did you like to like my review of WrestleMania? Let me know. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.